Today's episode of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is brought to you guys by FanDuel. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season big with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com/UCSS. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Deshaun Watson played arguably his best game ever as a Cleveland Brown on Sunday. By far his best game of the season. He graded out extremely well on PFF, as you mentioned earlier. Bull, the second highest quarterback grade of any quarterback in the NFL, just behind Lamar Jackson this season. We didn't have Tyvis on yesterday. We didn't have Dustin on yesterday. So I want to start with getting their thoughts on Deshaun's performance, and then we'll transition to how the Browns can build on the positives from Sunday as we get ready for Washington.
All right, guys. What do you got for Deshaun?
I mean, I sort of think it's sad that that's the bar we have, that's been like his best game, because it was a solid game. No doubt. Like, he made some throws. I think his receivers, definitely let him down. The Amari pick was probably the play of the game. But overall, I mean, I think they've had the football 8 times in the fourth quarter in the last couple of weeks, and you're not scoring touchdowns. I just think that for us to say he played great in a game like that, you got to have a game-winning drive. You got to get your offense in the end zone. Yes, it's great that he's playing better, but it's a $250 million, not just him, your offensive roster is the cap's $200+ million. We've got to have better than that. You scored 10 points in the first half. You only get 16 because your defense scored on the scoop and score.
Right.
It's sad how bad this offense really is right now.
Tyvis?
He's not wrong. I mean, obviously, Deshaun played really well, and this was his best performance this year. I thought he did make some throws, though, that I was like, okay, there we go.
He 100%
He made
did.
the play, the call back from Amari Cooper, that was a vintage Deshaun Watson moment. He scrambled around, found somebody, threw a dime to Coop, and Coop took it to the house. That's the stuff that we're used to seeing. But I do think not just him. The biggest thing with this team is consistency. If you go down the field and can score like that early in the game, and then you completely disappear for pretty much the rest of the game offensively, that's a problem. If you look at the Browns' 4 games, and it's always moments in the game where they look really good. Okay, I see this thing coming together. But then it goes a long time again before they can spark it up again. And their consistency is just terrible. But I thought Deshaun, I guess he finally realized, okay, I got X amount of time in the pocket right now. Thought the offensive line played a little bit better than they did a week ago, obviously. But, Max Crosby wasn't a part of this thing, so obviously that was going to be the case. But it seems to me he's found his clock where he's all right, I got to get rid of the ball. I got to make something happen by this moment, and he looked better doing that. So I applaud him for that, but the only thing I hated was the last play. That's 2 weeks in a row where he's done something on 4th down where they had to have it, and he doesn't get the ball out of his hand or he doesn't make it happen.
Totally
the
agree.
Giants game, that was the one he should have ate the sack, but he didn't. And then this one, he should have at least threw the ball, at least throw it up. You never know what
You
can
have
happen.
to.
Just throw it up
Yeah,
and
yeah.
let something happen, and he took the sack on that one.
Go ahead, G. You
it's
gave
no
your
problem.
thoughts on Watson, but follow-up thoughts after the PFF grade comes down.
Hey, man, I went and got the all 22.
Yeah.
And I watched it twice. Listen, I am optimistic. I like what I saw. I think we downplaying it a little bit, fellas. You got to look at it like this. If we look at his yardage, you take 2 plays. If Amari Cooper catches the ball on that route, he's wide open. That's another 20, 30-yard gain. And he did give you a comeback win. He threw the ball right to Jerry Jeudy, took the hit, 82 yards. If there's no holding on that play, we talking about a whole different game plan today. Now his stats is looking like 270, 280 yards, 2 to 3 touchdowns, and a game-winning drive. But we can't control what another man does. At the end of the day, Nick Harris got called for holding. Mari Cooper getting 20.
It was holding.
It was holding. It was.
They did a nice job breaking down the replay.
Actually, there's a couple of plays. That got called back, and then the DeJuan Jones miss. That was a touchdown.
That was a touchdown right there. So my thing is, when I was looking at the throws, I was looking like, okay, if he going to take the check down, Is he looking in the right place? Did he get it out? Sure. If he was going to be decisive and maybe he didn't like a certain look, he took the ball, pulled it down, and ran. I thought he showed more fire when DeJuan Jones was screwing up, looking around, not blocking. I like how he got it in his face. The only, like you said, the last play of the game, I'm like, you got to throw that football up. You're under pressure, but you still gotta give your guys a chance to do that late in the game. But I will say this: the game is the complexion is different if the kicker hits his extra point.
I agree with that.
Because now that's a field goal. We go into overtime with the momentum. So it's easy to say, oh man, the numbers didn't look that good, but we discounting that. If he just gets regular help, that game looks completely different from a number standpoint. It's looking like three more receptions, 25 of 32, and he don't have that many balls hitting the ground, and he did a good job of not taking the sack.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I also want to go back to the last play because, it was a bunch of people. Like, I seen the people like, oh, Deshaun, it's 3 people open on this read. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, first of all, he clearly wanted to go to Jordan Akins, and the Raiders was playing cover 2. So that corner, if he threw the corner route, the corner was picking it off 1,000%. I don't know why people don't know that. And then when he tried to go back,
that's what happens when people think they're experts when they're not.
Like the corner literally is
looking
going
like this.
back to go get it because he see the 7 cut coming. So by the time he goes from that, then they say, all right, go to the middle to the post. Well, by the time he tried to look there, the pressure was coming straight in his face. So that's what made him move. So it's like, I don't think people understand. Like, on a screenshot, it looks like it's open, but people don't go boom, boom, boom. Like it's too much going on over the course of a game.
The play up the middle, in the middle of the field, was open for a split second. If he had been looking that way at that moment, he could have made the play.
I don't know. We talking about the last play?
Yeah.
No, because the safety was standing right there.
Jerry Jeudy, so what Bull's talking about, in that last play, Jerry Jeudy in the freeze frame, which there's very dangerous precedent set when you take a freeze frame. Jeudy was going across the middle. Akins was going on the corner to the left. And Cooper was running some sort of rail route on the left. And Cooper said he ran the wrong route, by the way, which is why the coverage got.
I'm not blaming Deshaun for the Jeudy part. I'm saying because that wasn't his first read, obviously.
No, but the reason that Jeudy was even open on that is because Deshaun looked to the left and that safety went to go over the top.
Right. So even if I say, well, if he was looking at Jeudy right there,
the safety would have just read his eyes and went right there.
That's unfair. I said yesterday, I think what we're doing as a football fan base, and it's probably happening all over the country, or in most places. I'm sure it's not happening in Kansas City or anything, but what we're doing when we talk about, especially Deshaun Watson, we're doing the same thing we all do in politics, is we pick a side, and we can't move out of that side no matter what happens. So everybody wants you to say, when it comes to Deshaun Watson, he sucks or he's great.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to hear the in-between. There is no in-between. You have to completely agree with me here, or you have to completely agree with me here, or you're evil, or you're a horrible person, which is obviously stupid. It makes no sense. Like, when Deshaun Watson has been crappy,
everybody said it. We all said
he wasn't crappy. I thought he played a good game. Was he great? I'm not going to go that far. I don't think it was great, but I thought it was a very good game. I thought it was definitely the best game he's played with the Browns. Yes, the bar is lower, but I think there's another thing at play that affects.
Well, they scored 10 points, man.
And that's ultimately
so my point.
That's why I'm not giving. That's why I can't say he played a great game.
Yeah.
Because he did. In the end,
he didn't.
They didn't score enough,
and he didn't play well enough to win. He didn't. I mean, you can't tell me an offense scores 10 points.
But here's the thing.
They left 14 out there, too.
And like, at what point, this is the reason I get upset is at what point do we call a spade and say, listen, you other people are not doing your job.
I think we've been doing that.
No, if you drop, how was that? Listen, if you're the quarterback and I put it on your chest plate.
That's all Laurie.
I think you gotta catch that.
Gee, I think the thing for me was when I watched this game, this is one of those ones where I said they did not lose because of Deshaun.
That is true.
They didn't lose this game because of Deshaun.
That's fair.
I don't think anyone's saying that, though.
No, and I certainly was not saying that. If people took it as that, I just my point is that your quarterback gets all the credit when you win games. Like, okay, you've got to do a better job finding a way to get in the end zone. Period. I mean, there were two drives prior to the last drive. I mean, the one drive there was a scramble by Deshaun. I thought he definitely could have got the first down. It ends up being he falls 2 yards short.
Yep.
Kind of got a bad spot, but still, they go
Yeah.
third down, they get stopped, they punt the ball. Then that's 4 minutes, you lose the clock.
But
I think-
ultimately, you have to, like, in the end, even with the penalty for the hold, even with the drop,
You
and
got
the
to overcome,
interception,
Adam.
on that fourth down play, he didn't make a play on that fourth down
I
play.
thought he was going to, by the way. Like when I was watching the game, in my mind, I'm like, Browns got this. They're going to win this
Yeah.
game.
I thought so too.
I
was
did.
surprised.
But I think I see it how G sees it because it's kind of unfair in the sense of the holding call. Like he literally made
gave you
he
two.
made the play.
He made the play.
And then on the
Right.
DeJuan Jones miss, like it literally is a touchdown. He literally gonna drop the ball where it's supposed to be. But like how is that his fault?
The
that
Nick
guy
Harris.
Nobody's saying it's his
the
fault.
Nick
No, I'm
Harris
just
on
saying, like,
we
it-
on the 20, right? We going in. It's 1st and 10 on like this on like the
16.
16.
Yeah.
The
That was
dude,
terrible.
The dude just like
Yes, the whole listen. There is nobody on this offense getting a pass.
No.
And to me, in this game, the offensive line, which I agree with you, played better.
Yeah,
but the
not-
offensive line, the wide receivers, the running backs, the coach, to me, get more blame for this game than Deshaun Watson does in the loss, in my opinion.
And by the way, guys, like we're being critical of the offense, and we should be because they're one of the worst offenses in the league right
Yeah.
now. But fellas, the Raiders are like not a great team, and we
all.
couldn't tackle
Nobody.
for anything.
Defense sucks. I texted a stat that I saw in an article on ESPN today. The Browns are 32nd in the league in yards after contact allowed in the run game.
Yeah.
32nd. They're dead last.
That's
They're
the-
giving up almost
yeah.
2.5 yards after contact in the running game. That's crazy
That's
bad.
just an effort thing, though. I mean,
Yes.
that's what's so crazy about
I
it is
swear.
like, these guys are good players. Like, when you have yards after contact, that tells me, number one, like you don't have guys running the ball. Like you don't have 3, 4, 5, 6 guys swarming
Right.
to the ball because the yards after contact only happen when the first guy, you come in, you try to make a play.
Yeah.
Well, if you miss the tackle and you force it inside, well, you should have 5 guys make that stop instead of allowing him those extra yards. So, that was an issue. I mean, we didn't get a ton of a pass rush on Minshew. I mean,
Outside of Miles.
it's Gardner freaking. You lost to Gardner Minshew and Daniel Jones back-to-back weeks.
Two of the worst starting
How
quarterbacks
can you
in the
say
league.
that this team's a playoff team?
just-
Right now, they're not.
It's just the defense to me. It looks like they believe they press Clippers from last year. Like
Oh, yeah.
when you watch, like don't get me wrong, they're not giving up a ton of points. Like I know if you give up like 20 points, 16 points, all those, you should win those games in the National Football League. But like he said, the effort on it, like I just be looking at it sometimes like. What are y'all like? Y'all think y'all just gonna roll to him and out to be what y'all
When
was
did the
last
Raiders
year?
become some like?
the Raiders suck.
when-
And they
when-
without
they were-
Devontae Adams.
When did the Raiders all of a sudden become, like the Niners in the 90s in terms of running the football? I mean,
Well, who was
dude,
their
they-
best skill
They don't have
position?
Roger Craig in the backfield or Bo Jackson.
No. If you look at the last 2 weeks against the Raiders' best skill position player probably is Brock Bowers right now with Devontae Adams hurt.
was the only guy they
and
had.
he's a rookie. And
he did
for the
nothing.
Giants,
Trey Tucker looked like
Killed him.
freaking Jerry Rice out there.
he killed them. And
Akron's
Well,
finest.
that was
and Malik Neighbors is excellent with the Giants, but they don't have any others. Like, the defense hasn't given up a ton of points, but look at the offenses you've played the last 3 weeks. Jacksonville, the Giants, and the Raiders. I mean, those are bad offensive teams.
That's true too.
So-
I just it's something about that. I don't know why. I get some plays to why the corners played off because some formations dictate you got to play off. Like if receivers is close, obviously somebody press somebody off or they just play it off. So I get those formations. But the little spray outs and the little hitches, I was like, what are you doing? Like at least challenge it.
terrible play.
Challenge it.
McNuggets, you said you got something. You had your hand up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I got one thing I want to get back to Deshaun and then pushing forward how this offense improves. I thought his best throw of the entire game was the incomplete pass to Judy, where he laid it perfectly, and the defender just made a really nice pass breakup.
That was
When
a
you go
great
back and
pass.
watch the alternate
Dime.
view,
That was a
that
dime.
was actually, in my opinion, the best pass he
dime.
made all game. But let's look ahead to Washington, whose secondary is not great. They've given up a ton of pass yards. What do the Browns have to do to build off what we saw against Vegas?
Hope their offense can score enough points.
I'm telling you.
Because it's going to be
gonna be a shootout.
Because the Commanders are going to score 30 points.
Yes.
And the Browns can't score 20 right now. So the
Right.
question is, I don't give a rip how talking about defense and shutting these guys down. Jaden Daniels and this offense are. I mean, I watched the last 2 weeks. I know you watched them because your Bengals got their ass kicked.
Yeah.
So that's the deal.
You had to put that in.
He
there.
took a stray.
Yeah, no doubt. The Washington
You would admit they got their ass kicked.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the score?
I mean, it was a close game because
Yeah,
the Bengals' offense is good, but their defense is horrible.
Yeah, I mean, they were.
I don't even think Washington was ever in a third and long the whole game.
They weren't, and they didn't have to punt.
No.
Oh, yeah, that was that
By
game.
the way, I think one thing we got to get used to now in the NFL right now is that yardage, we can't, when it comes to Deshaun or anybody else, we can't think of yardage the same way because yardage is way down for quarterbacks.
That's a lie.
But
Didn't they just CJ threw for 300, Justin Fields threw for 300.
that's a couple of guys, Tyvis.
Baker Mayfield threw for
He
340.
did, but overall, the amount of 300 games is way down. But I'll tell you what's up is completion percentage because everybody's throwing the ball short. We're seeing, and we saw it with Deshaun. I mean, most of his completions.
You know, Deshaun's in the game in his time in Cleveland has only 8 times thrown for 200 yards.
Out of
16, 17.
Something like that.
16 games. Well,
It's 18 now.
But 200's a low number.
yeah, 200 is a very low number. But I almost feel like right now 250 is the new 300. And I hate that because I'm all about the offense.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. 250.
But still, how often is he at 250? Once?
I think
Twice?
once.
I'll tell you in 1 second.
I think it was one.
Not often.
I think it was one time.
But
The Tennessee game?
in terms of the Arizona game he threw for last year, in terms of what can they do to build off of this, I can't even look at it that way because Deshaun played better, but everybody else sucked. Like what?
Judy wasn't bad.
He's okay. He's been fine.
Now everybody else sucked.
You know what? Everybody's talking about Judy's having a great year. He's on pace for 850 yards.
Who said
that's
that?
Nothing.
Wait a minute. Who said
I've heard a lot of fans
that's
say
actually
Judy's great.
way higher than I expected him to
Well,
be.
one game, by the way, over 250. It was the Tennessee game last year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. One game over 250. They can't run the ball.
Which is the
They
biggest
can't.
problem.
I mean, DeJuan Jones is absolute garbage right now. He can't play. Why is he still starting?
He can't move.
Who's playing? Who else is gonna play?
He can't play, Tyvis.
Adam the Bull.
Who else is gonna play?
Run an ad in the
So
paper.
wait.
Yes.
You sit DeWine down. Who's going in?
I just said it.
Anybody.
Run an ad in the
man
paper.
can't move.
Yeah, it's tough,
they
man.
they getting reinforcements soon.
Look at that. 26th in points per game, 30th in passing yards per game, 26th in rushing yards per game, 22nd in turnovers.
And can
That's
I say,
a losing formula.
Can I say something as well? Like,
Right.
as much as we rail on Deshaun, and I am to blame maybe more than most because I am critical of what we expect from this quarterback and for this team to be. The problem I have with this team is that you tried to force feed this offense down Deshaun's throat in this team, and it's not working right now.
It was supposed to be different, but
I see nothing different.
No.
In fact, it looks worse to me.
Yeah,
And outside of Stefanski's first 10 plays that he scripts, the offense is completely AWOL.
that's it. They look
Thank
great
you.
on the scripted plays, and then they suck.
Yeah.
I was looking up something, I wasn't even in the chat. I was looking up something. I saw a tweet somewhere. Maybe McNuggets, you could look it up. And it goes to that point. We talk about the quarterback, and we talk about a lot of things in the offense not looking great. But while Kevin Stefanski is here, I believe he has never ranked higher than 19th in offense since he's been here.
In terms of points, in terms of yardage, what category?
You're basing that on yardage.
It was either total offense or yardage, but there was
He was always middle of the
In
pack.
2020, they were 10th in scoring.
So the stat I seen said that they have never been higher than 19th when it comes to in terms of offense.
The Browns have never been.
Are you talking? If you talk, I'll look yards. So if you're confident they were 10th in points,
Yards is stupid. To judge team based on yards
Yeah.
is dumb. That doesn't make any
Well, in
sense.
that case, we shouldn't talk about 300-yard passers then, should we? You just told me that, right?
All right, fair.
well, gee, they were 16th in total yards
That's why
last
the
year.
EPA stuff really matters.
All these advanced stats are much better.
They were
sure.
14th in 2022. In 21, they were 18th. They actually haven't been lower than 19th
The
yet.
Browns haven't been top 10. The Browns have only been top 10 in scoring. I'm sorry.
It might have been
They were
scoring.
10th in 2020.
It might have been scoring.
And then
I'll
that
look
one year with
scoring
Derek
'cause-
Anderson, they were 8th. They've never been higher
was
than
just
that
looking
since the
for it.
80s.
That was Baker's year, Kobe year, 20.
2020, they were 10th in scoring. I was looking that up this morning.
I like those shoes there, Tyvis, man.
Thank you, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate
In
that.
2020, they were 13th, Bull, not 10th.
In scoring?
Yep.
On Pro Football Reference, it said 10th.
In 2021, they were 20th. In 2022, they were 17th.
Where are you looking at that?
teamrankings.com.
That's what you trust? I looked at Pro Football Reference. I'm going to trust that better.
And they were 12th in 2020. Yeah, gee, that stat was just wrong. You saw whoever you saw that from that
Yeah.
stat.
I might have been looking for it. I was like,
I don't know about your list. I don't know what the hell Team Rankings.
No, I've been there. It's a good site.
Team Rankings is a great site.
It's a great
All
site.
right.
We talk
Great
about
site,
bowl.
yeah.
I don't know. I never heard of it.
This ain't
Out of the
politics,
loop
man.
on this one?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, to
Yeah.
answer the question, how do they build upon it? It's the run game. That's
You got any faith in the run game?
No.
But
I
I thought
don't.
Ford ran hard.
That was a great run in that last drive.
Phenomenal
He
run.
broke a tackle there.
So you said he's earned more carries.
I would say give him the ball more. I think he goes from 0 to 100 quick.
the problem is the rest of the lines.
Yeah.
I don't do.
I think
Okay, let me ask you. You said DeJuan Jones is complete garbage right now.
right now. He's in terrible shape.
Is that pass blocking or run blocking?
I think both.
So you would run to the left.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I thought the rest of the line did a decent job overall. I don't know what you guys think. I just
They
think
were better. They were
Nick
better.
I
Harris
thought
did
DeJuan
not-
was so
Nick
bad
Harris,
it made the
no.
line look worse.
Nick Harris was trash. Zach Zenner.
I thought he played pretty
I
well.
thought he played pretty well too.
The left side was good.
but he had like a 40-something. Like,
did he?
Poachers didn't come back, right?
Yes, he did.
He came back and then went back
He
out.
was in and out twice.
Yeah, I saw that. So that hurts too. Your center's the most important position.
Yeah.
So here's my problem with the run game. And I would be anxious if somebody asked this question. So Bill Callahan was in charge of the run game. He was offensive. He was the run game coordinator. So that means he decides what blocking schemes you're going to run, whether you're going to double team, zone, gap, do all this stuff, right? We're going to leave a tight end or whatever the case may be. Who's doing that now? Because if we watch and we look, these guys have they're like a line with no identity. That's not what they do. These guys, Joe Bitonio and Wyatt Teller and Poachich, those guys get on your hand in the ground and come off the ball and knock people around, and we're going to run, and then we get some play action off that. Whose decision was it to just say, we drop it back 5 wide with a quarterback that scrambles around a whole lot, and these guys haven't even been indoctrinated or even part of that game
But have
plan?
they been running 5 wide as much the last couple of weeks? I think it's been down.
According to the Browns website, the run game specialist is Nick Charlton.
Whoever the hell that
Who
guy
is that?
He's an offensive assistant.
Who is that?
He'll be a head coach in 3 years.
Slash run. His
you know
his
what?
title is run game offensive assistant slash run game.
So you went from
This is his first year with the Browns and his first
feels
year
like
as an NFL coach.
ho. Thank you, Tyvis.
First year as an
Are
NFL
you
coach.
Black Santa over here?
This right here. Ho.
What it says.
Merry Christmas. What the heck is that?
That is it. Am I reading
you
that
What
correctly?
was he doing before this year?
What
He
was
was
he
with
doing?
UConn.
He was working at Mr. Chicken.
Said UConn. Working at
UConn's one of the worst
Programs in
Division
so,
One football programs in America.
To be fair, Jim Mora last year, they ran the ball for almost 200 yards a game, so it was one of the top 30 teams in the country. Just saying.
Hey,
But here's the thing.
But you went from
But
Bill
they're also
Callahan.
UConn,
You
you're right.
went from Bill Callahan, one of the best offensive line coaches who's handling your run coordination, to a guy who has no face on Madden. Like he has it's a blank screen, and this dude is calling, and then you wonder why you can only get 2 yards a carry.
And let me think about it this way. This to me signals what I mentioned yesterday, that for the first time since he's been here, I think Kevin Stefanski needs to give up the play calling. And it's not because he's doing a bad job necessarily play calling. It's because
He's not managing the game well.
He's not managing the game well.
He's not.
And it's been this year he's done a terrible job with timeouts, with clock management.
Adam, you can't call that timeout.
That was
Before
so
fourth.
dumb.
It was so dumb. At least,
Especially if you were just
at
going hard
least,
count it.
Frankly, I mean, you actually put more pressure on Deshaun Watson.
That's right.
Because if he doesn't get it, it's the game is over. At least if he, whatever, he turned the ball over, you've got 3 timeouts. You're probably going to get another chance because
3 timeouts and good field position probably because they're backed up.
You're at the 15-yard line or whatever it was.
Some people were trying to argue with me yesterday. Well, but then they would have had to rush that final call in. Rush?
No.
They get calls all the time.
First off, they didn't have to rush anything.
Yeah, exactly.
They decided that they were going to try and get them to jump off
Right,
sides,
so
which is a great novel idea, especially like end of half situations when like it doesn't matter and you're trying to get free yards.
Right.
There, the timeout is way more valuable than trying to get them to jump off sides.
Well-
which by the way, rarely happens.
And then
Yeah,
he said this
almost
in
never
his
these days.
press conference. I don't know if you heard this. He was like, when that case, I just wanted to get him the best play, like the best play possible at that time. And I'm like, dog, you don't have two in the chamber?
I mean,
You got
why
to have
do you
two
need
in the
the
holster.
timeout to get the
Shouldn't
best
you
play
always
possible?
want to do that anyway?
Like-
Regardless if you take a timeout or not?
I
It's
think
a 4th and 2. You should want to get Deshaun the
in
best
my
play
opi-
regardless.
In my opinion, I always think that when you call a timeout before that play, it makes it like so much bigger and harder. Pause. So in terms of the pressure on that play, and you also allow the defense a chance. I mean, they saw the set on. You lined up. You tried.
yeah.
I don't
Did he
remember
not
if they-
switch the set?
I don't remember if they did or didn't. But the point is, they got a chance to really get themselves
Recoup.
comfortable, recoup.
Right.
Also, get a little swig of water. Like let's get ready to go.
So do you think also that they'd be better off if Stefanski gave a play calling?
I don't know that I'd go on record saying that because I do think Stefanski is a whiz when it comes to offensive game plans. But if it's becoming a hindrance to the offensive management or just game management for the entire team, then it's got to go.
And I wonder if, getting back to your point about this new guy being the run game coordinator, maybe there's just even a little more on Stefanski's plate this year because of that, and that's putting him over the tipping point of being able to manage the play calling and manage the clock.
Well, that's their own fault because you don't get guys that you gotta be looking over their shoulder.
This is crazy.
Now you.
I don't know that that's the case.
I'm just saying,
speculating.
like you gotta have guys in there that you trust that you know can get it done. You don't want to be now. I can't do what I gotta do because I gotta go be a helicopter parent over this guy to make sure that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Like that's too stressful.
Because you supposed to have you went from one of the most competent guys in the game, where Bill Callahan not only was a head coach calling plays in college, he was a head coach. His expertise is offensive line. So he knows how to deal with these dudes in a silo. Like that, he one of them position coach y'all done played before where that position coach don't even be really reporting to the head coach. They got their own deal. Like, hey, he gonna tell you who's starting, what we running. He don't even got to check in with the coach. That's how much cachet he got. And you go from that to a guy who, and no disrespect, like I'm not saying the guy can't turn into something, but when you got as much pressure in a veteran late in line like you do right now, and the running game is going to be so much impactful for your team, I'm having a hard time saying I'm going to turn that over to somebody who has not done that job and is his first year. No disrespect. All I'm saying is, if you want to know why the running game looks kind of like, I don't know, it's hit or miss, you don't know what they're doing. Well, maybe because it's the experience level. And I'm with you, Bull. Look, he's the coach of everything. He's not just the play sheet. Sometimes you got to give something up, man. Like, everybody know people out there be like, listen, I got 3 jobs. Well, maybe you might want to cut one of them 1 jobs down and get you a solid job with some benefits.
I always say this to people all the time.
I take offense to that too.
Hey, listen, you had to
It's
get rid of some
okay.
stuff.
It's okay to delegate.
Right.
Yes.
Let him do the job.
That to me, delegation shows a true
Leadership.
leader.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely.